Things just got worse and worse and worse as the night went on. Again, valiant effort down the stretch for the Bucs. Just too little, too late. Let's go down and let's see what Coach Fletch and the rest of the crew has to say. As always, go Bulls. So let's head into the locker room right now and see what the guys have to say about that one. Wow. Where do the Buccaneers go from here? What an incredible atmosphere. What a good win for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They snapped a 7-game winning streak. How we feeling, Bucs Nation? It's time to party, baby.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Recher podcast. We are on location here in West Palm Beach in the hotel before the big tournament this weekend, the Prospect Select Showcase. And we got plenty to get into today. We are just days away from the season opener for our Tampa Bay Buccaneers as they take on the Atlanta Falcons. Week 1 of the NFL regular season. We saw the season kick off last night in a wild and wacky game between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. We'll get into that, Spitgate, and all that craziness. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. I am everywhere. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well. We couldn't do this without you guys, and of course, we can't do it with our main sponsor right here, Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC, 813-244-0956. We switched it up, put the logo, everything on the other side today because we're here at the hotel. I appreciate and I love you all, and especially our guy DT, David Terry, starting it right off with the super chat. Listen, the only way I'm going to be able to keep doing this podcast is by getting sponsors and the super chats, and we'll be starting our membership soon. We're finishing up the artwork wherever Jeff Taylor is out there. If you're going to be in our membership, paying for our silver or our gold membership, those are the kind of things you're going to get a sneak peek at the Recher podcast t-shirts. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Like our guy David Terry says, smash that like button, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, /X. I always want to hear from you. Questions, comments, concerns, leave them there at the bottom of the screen. If you want to get in on the conversation, you can do that via your phone or the laptop. There is the link right there, StreamYard.com/VID. Come on now. VID. RQJDXRS. If you want to get in on the conversation, that is the way you do it. Just click on the link in the chat. And again, you can join via the phone. You can join via your laptop. Give me a prediction for the Buccaneers, whether it's this weekend against the Atlanta Falcons, whether it's your season prediction, what you think their record is going to be. I've already been on record saying I think this is a 12-win team. 12-5 seems to kind of be that nice spot I think they're going to be at. They are still getting flying under the radar in certain areas. I don't think they're flying under the radar when it comes to division, but I think they're flying under the radar when it comes to top teams in the NFC, top teams in the National Football League. But hey, they're not going to complain about that. Not at all. 12-20 day. We're going to talk about the Rays. They just cannot stop winning. And they're winning again. And they're winning again. And they're winning again. This team just, listen, they're going about their business very quietly. Still 2 behind in the loss column there in the wild card. But you cannot fault what these guys have been doing the last couple of weeks. They are ready to roll. 12:30, Bailey Adams is going to join us from Pewter Report. And then 1 o'clock, what to watch this weekend. You were always wondering, Jay, what should I be keeping my eye on? If you listen to Pat and Aaron yesterday with Ian Beckles, they were busting my chops. We're going to play that for you guys next week. They were busting my balls about Jay watching everything. He doesn't even bet on sports. Yeah, that's me. That is how I roll. So if you want to ask one person what to watch this weekend, I've got you. Of course, we got plenty of NFL action. We got plenty of college football action. There's also some soccer. There's also some tennis. So you want to be able to keep your eye out. And it doesn't mean you have to spend all weekend watching it. But if you want to dip in for 10, you want to dip in for 20, I am your guy right here on the Recher podcast. I will take care of you. Benny's first because, of course, he is. And a shout out once again to David Terry with the $10 super chat. Guys, please contribute via the super chat. $1, $2, $5, $10, $20, whatever you can do. David Terry, always, man, you got my back. I appreciate you. Yes, Lady Evil, Vita Vea back in practice. He was trying to hide with the helmet. That son of a gun. He's so freaking hilarious. Vita Vea, I told you guys not to worry. He'll be in there. He'll be ready to go. Dolan, there in the UPS truck. 7 in a row. Right there. You got that. Eric Moreno, what's going on, pal? Always good to hear from you. And if you want to call in, go right ahead. Spitfire, the season starts. You got that right. Smash that like button. Greg DeCruz in the house. Our guy Bart Hill in the house. Let's see. Keep it rolling. Greg DeCruz. I like it, Greg. 27-23. Buccaneers over the Falcons. He's got him going 11-6. Dolan's got him going 11-6 as well. 33-20 Buccaneers. 24-17, David Terry says Bucks on Sunday. 11 wins this season. That seems to be the common sentiment of our crew here on the Jay Recher podcast. Blue Jays take care of Yankees. Rays get closer to the wild card. Hey, we will take it. USF 21, Florida 17. Where's our guy Robert Cochran at? He will definitely let you know. We got the UFC in Paris as well. When they were busting your chops yesterday, I texted that Google ask you for sports information. Dolan, you are the best, buddy. I appreciate you so much. And Chris Cole and Scott J in the house. I love it, man. Look at E-Money. He changes his name. He's no longer Eric Moreno. He's E-Money in the house. What is going on, brother? How are you?
I'm good, Jay. How about you?
I'm good, pal. I know that's your favorite shirt. Bucks run the South. Let everybody know, what is your guess for this weekend? What is your take on the season for our Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
28-21 Bucks over Falcons. Mike Evans, a touchdown, 10 catches, and
10 catches now.
Ibuka, 5 catches, 85 yards, and maybe Kate Alton. Good to see him back. I was worried. I'm like, Bowles wasn't sure, if he was healthy. I'm like, oh boy, here we go again. He was a full yesterday, and looks like Vita's going to be okay. I saw the picture. I'm like, oh, he's trying to hide. I'm like, is that really him? That's
Record?
big. I mean,
what's the record for this season?
11-6, 12-5. I'm there with you.
Yeah, 11-6 and 12-5. All right. So what are you going to be doing this weekend, brother? Where are you going to be watching the game at?
My friend's house. We were going to go to the game, but we wind up just watching the game. We were there in Atlanta last year for the Thursday night game. I'm like, man, that was crazy.
What a game that was. I was watching it with Ian. It was such a late game. I was with Ian over at the Dignitary Cafe, and it was just him and I. And usually it's a group of people, but it was just him and I. It was a late one. And it was just, oh, man, what a tough loss. What a tough loss for that one. All right, so is your friends you're watching with, are they Bucks fans too?
Oh, yeah. Bucks, Gators, and the Gators too.
What do you got? Gators, USF. Who you think wins that one?
28-24 Florida.
Oh, so USF makes a game of it, you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, USF. I think they're a 9-10 win team. Florida has got a tough schedule. They got Texas, LSU. Who else do we have in there? We have like the
Florida
tough
State. Yeah.
Florida State. Yeah, we have
Miami.
Like schedule. Miami. Yeah. How about the Rays? 7 in a row.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Money, you playing fantasy football this year?
We were supposed to get a one, but I don't know. I might just do like a random one, but
randoms are always fun.
Yeah. I guess they're going with the opener today.
Just gotta keep rolling, man. Keep rolling against Cleveland. This is a team that's kind of right there with them.
I want to just let Seymour. He's been pitching good, but I don't know. Maybe they want to, have Jax for an inning or two, and then go Seymour for 5 innings, and then Ukeda's been pitching good. Brian Baker, you got Mason Montgomery. So they got options in the bullpen. So
live arms in the bullpen. There's about to be a lot of traffic over there on Dale Mabry between Raymond James Stadium and Steinbrenner Field. You calling me money, we call him our pal Eric Moreno. E, you're the man. I appreciate it, buddy. Enjoy your weekend.
Later out, Jay.
See you, pal. Man, I love it's guys like Eric, man. Guys like Eric right there. That is the reason why I do this. I appreciate him calling in. If you guys want to call in again, feel free. We want to hear from you a couple of days before. Of course, he calls in. Of course, he's another one of our guys, another one of our favorite guys that like to chime in. There is the link. Click on the link there in the chat, either on the phone or on your laptop. He's rocking his USF hoodie. He was on the show this time. Well, maybe not last week because the game was on Thursday, but he joined us 8 days ago, and people were calling him a homer. People said he was crazy. What is he smoking, that wacky tobacco up there in Oklahoma City? What does this guy know? He's a homer. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. And then on Thursday night at about 9:30, 10 o'clock, the Twitterverse was going crazy saying, is he a psychic? Is he one of those people that is going to give me the lottery numbers? He is. Robert Cochran chiming in from Oklahoma. My brother, you are decked out in USF gear. How are you?
Pretty good. Yeah, just excited about the Florida game tomorrow. And the times line up perfectly to where I can watch my USF Bulls beat the Florida Gators 45-28.
Whoa, 45 against the Gators defense.
We're not worried about
Whoa.
that.
You're not worried.
Byron Brown's gonna run through their faces. But
He's going to run through their faces.
yeah.
I love it.
But then after that, so I go to school up here in Oklahoma at the University of Central Oklahoma, the number 20 ranked in Division II University of Oklahoma, or Central
Okay.
Oklahoma, by the way. And I'm going to be going directly after the USF game to our first home game, which is
Nice. Who do they play?
Pittsburgh State, which
Okay.
they're number 13 in Division II. So it's a nice little top 25 Division II matchup.
You're a dedicated fan, my friend. Robert, I'm pulling for you, buddy. And when the USF Bulls win by 2 touchdowns, we're going to give you all the credit in the world again. Have a great weekend, my friend. Thanks for calling in.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, buddy. Go Bulls. Go Bulls. Robert Cochran, one of the guys that he's with us, baby. He is with us. There is the link. Head on. Listen, if you've never called in before, that's fine. Give us a shout. Just click on this link that's right there in the chat on your phone. The link brings you up right to StreamYard. Put your name in, get into the lobby, and chime in on the conversation. You can do it on your laptop as well. We're trying to be very interactive here on the Jay Recher podcast. Let's get to some of these comments that we have here. Like our guy Nathan Elliott. Hello, Tampa Bay Ray Jay Recher. The Jay Recher watches. The degenerates that are watching. Nate says Bucks beat the Falcons 31-17. Penix can't run or throw from the bench. Bucks will control the clock with long drives and a stingy defense. Dolan says the Gators win by not that much. If the defense improves, they'll win 12-13 games, says our guy Chris Cole. I'm with you, and that's why I have them at 12 wins. They're flying under the radar. I think one of the easier bets all year long is the over for wins when it comes to the Buccaneers. 9 games, easy money right there. Really, really good stuff. Again, questions, comments, concerns, put them there at the bottom of the screen. What a crazy-ass game last night. What a crazy-ass game to be able to see the Eagles and the Cowboys scoring on the first 8 drives, and then halftime, and then the lightning stoppage, and then everything stopped, and then the offenses could not score at all. It was a wild, wild game. If you had the over last night, like a lot of my friends did, you got screwed. It was 47.5, and going into halftime, there was 38 points scored. It finished 24-20. That is freaking nuts. That is crazy. You just have to wonder, like, you know, the NFL, Vegas, do they turn the light switch on and off when it comes to lightning delays? I don't know. But I thought when you look at Jalen Hurts and you look at Saquon Barkley, when the best thing, when you're looking at football and you're looking at football teams, when other teams know you're going to run the football and then you run the football and they still can't stop you, I mean, that's big boy shit right there. And that's why the Eagles are going to be a tough out. Now, with that being said, in the second half, they did get pushed around a little bit by Dallas on both sides of the ball. It was a little surprising. I think Kenny Clark is the guy that, you know, people are going to talk about the Micah Parsons deal, and I'm going to be in the minority. I know people say, oh, well, you got to be able to rush the pass. You got to be able to protect the passer and the quarterbacks. I get that. But if the guy already has back issues, you got to get rid of him. You got to trade him at some point, right? Instead of making sure that you're giving him $40 million, then you have 3 of the guys. You heard it last time in the broadcast. I think Chris Collinsworth said it. If you pay Micah that much money, you have 3 guys taking up 50% of your payroll. Like, that's just, you can't win like that. Now, should they have probably paid him instead of maybe CD or Dak? That's a conversation for another day. But as of right now, he's dealing with some back issues. You've got to focus on the guys you got. And what we've seen, even without Micah, when he, you know, misses a couple of games here and there, even though he hasn't missed a ton, I mean, they do a really good job. They have great depth at the outside linebacker spots. So, I mean, to me, you got to be able to continue to run the football. Dallas was actually a lot better than I thought. They lose that game, but I think they got to feel pretty positive going toe-to-toe with the defending champions last night. Now, what happened with the whole Jalen Carter thing? I mean, there's no like tolerance for spitting. Like, I just think it's but like when you're spitting it down and like, it's easy to say like, I would never do that. Right. You're in the heat of the moment. It's not an excuse. It's a reason. Right. Dak already spit in his general vicinity that people just kind of gloss over. It doesn't make it right. But I just like, I don't know where I hate to see it's one thing if like you're going up and you're spitting and you're just like, boom, and you're hocking a loogie right in the guy's face. He kind of spit like, down. I don't know. The heat of the moment, it's easy to say that you wouldn't do that, right? It's easy to say when you're not in the heat of the battle and these guys are going. I mean, you're spitting at someone, even though you're spitting on the floor, you're kind of spitting in their general direction. I think Jalen Carter figured like it was almost like a tit for tat kind of thing. I'm not saying it's right. It's just the reason why. He probably thought, man, if I spit in his face, I really disrespect the guy. That's over the line. But he kind of spit in my direction. I'm going to spit in his direction, even though it kind of got him down here. Again, I'm just trying to process what he might have been thinking. Was it stupid? Of course it was. Because you get knocked out before you even play a freaking snap. And then you're probably going to get suspended. They are very lucky that they were able to win that game because you saw Jordan Davis had to play a lot. And you saw they got not manhandled, but they had some issues there in the second half and on both sides of the football. And watch out for the Landon Dickerson injury at guard. He did not look comfortable at all. Missed practice last week. Man, when I watched that game, I feel a lot better about the Buccaneers. I wanted Dallas to – can't believe I almost just said that. I didn't want the Eagles to lose. No, I did want them to lose. I wanted Dallas to lose. I was praying for a tie, damn it. Just give me a tie. I don't like either one of those teams. I'm not cheering for either one of them. I just look at it in comparison to like the Bucs record and what the Bucs would need. I didn't want either team to win. I wish that something out of their control, they end in a 24-24 tie, and that would be it. Greg DeCruz, who scores more points, FSU or the Bucs? I'm going to go with the Bucs in that one, no doubt. Look at our guy, Louie. Check out the Frozen Pirate Pod. That was a really good game last night. Yeah, I mean, it was football. It was back. There was, some catches that should have been made by CeeDee Lamb and Ferguson. The last one was really tough. But listen, I'm thinking of this to myself last night, right? If you are one of the best wide receivers in the league, some of those passes that hit you you got to make those. That's the difference between CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb and Jamar Chase. Like, you got to come down with those. Like, you get paid the big bucks. You got to make tough plays. No excuse for CeeDee Lamb. You can put up amazing numbers. You can be an all-pro, Pro Bowl type player. But you got to make plays when the lights are the brightest. When your team needs you the most, that's when you have to rise. And there's so many times in sports where guys are just like, well, look at my individual statistics, or look, I won an MVP. That don't mean shit if you fall in the fourth quarter. When you shrivel up and you don't do a damn thing in game 7. Like, if you are that guy, like, fine. If that's the kind of guy you want to be, great. But part of the reason why a guy like Tom Brady was so great is because his light was shining the brightest in the fourth quarter. When it got to crunch time, Tom Brady was going to make that play. Eli Manning, even a guy like that, whose career is so crazy, what did he do? He came up big when you needed him the most. I mean, that's what sets apart, good from great from all time, and gives people the nod over others. And unfortunately is what kind of is a scar or a wart on somebody's career is if you don't come up big when your team relies on you. And you'll have to wear that as a badge of dishonor. Sorry. Chris Cole, Eagles were lucky to win that game because of Jalen Carter spitting. And we're not talking about spitting ill rhymes either. There's a difference between spitting on the floor and spitting on someone. I hear you, Jake. Can the Bucs beat the Falcons with mostly 2 wide receivers? How much contributions are needed by the rest of the wide receivers and tight ends? That's a great point, Greg. Because when I look at this team, run the football, utilize everybody. Rashad White, Sean Tucker, short passing game. You saw the guys in motion. Don't be surprised if you get Tez Johnson. We saw that in the preseason a little bit, where you have Tez in motion, goes back the other way, play action, throw it out to Tez, get him out in space. I guarantee you're going to see that play tomorrow. Sunday. Everybody that's watching, everybody, you are going to see that play one time on Sunday. Watch the entire game. The play you are going to see is you're going to see a play action play, and Baker's going to roll out probably to his left, and Tez is going to be coming all the way across, and they're going to dump the ball off to Tez with a short pass, and he's going to get him in space. I guarantee you, I will bet $100 that that play is going to happen on Sunday. And when you watch it, you guys tell yourself, cha-ching, because that's what's going to happen. I like it. I'm excited to see what the Bucs are going to do. Dak baited him. You're right there, buddy. Oh, that sucks, Greg. I was spit on as a bus driver. It's the worst thing that can be done for someone. Yeah, man, you got that right. I do. I didn't even send our guy Bailey Adams the link. I've been so jacked up today and ready for the show. Hold on, my friend. PIDRQ, JDX. Ah, shit. That was the wrong one. Hold on, guys. Trying to get the right thing on here for our pal, Bailey Adams, streamer.com/VIDRQ. VIDRQTDXS. Boom. We're in there like swimwear, baby. All right, there we go. Eric Moreno, I just wanted to give a shout out to my parents. It would have been their 37th anniversary today. RIP, Dad. Love you so much. Man, we're sending our love to you, my friend. I know. We're there with you, man, and we're glad that we can kind of help you through these tough times. Greg, you're right out. You're right on, buddy. I think the story about Micah Parsons' back could be a little BS, just a way to get out of Dallas. I don't know, man. I don't know, Louis, because from what I've been hearing, it's the opposite, brother. It's I've been hearing that same kind of thing, that there were some back issues. I was hearing this before he even got traded, and now we hear it. Now we hear it. All right, is he going to play? He's saying I'll leave it up to Green Bay. You don't get healthier as you get older. And Ian is a big Micah Parsons fan. He's kind of like going back the other way. Like, oh, okay. Should I drop Keon Coleman for Dante Thornton Jr.? Keon, probably. I hate because Keon's got such a high ceiling, you would think, but I just don't know. He's a funny guy, a great guy, but I feel like if it's not this year, he's never going to get it because Josh is clamoring for a number one. Give me somebody. There's got to be some kind of rapport, no doubt. Oh, fantasy football question, send them in as well. Dave, I'm glad you put this. Well, David, all right, David, big time Tampa Bay sports fan, David Velasquez, our guy. If you would have asked me about George Pickens, I would have told you right off the rip, not good. Don't ever pick number twos in fantasy, ever, unless there's like 2 or 3 guys, maybe for years, like Jalen Waddle was an acceptable number 2. I think Chris Godwin, when he's 100%, is a good number 2. Maybe a Mecca, but like if I don't look at fantasy football like I just want to compete, I want to win. If you have anybody, like you have to have wide receiver ones, in my opinion, if you're going to win in fantasy football. Targets. That's what it comes down to. And especially because the majority of the leagues are PPR now. Targets. I'm not taking George Pickens. And plus, he's a guy that is going to make some stupid mistakes. He had a great catch last night at the end of the game, but he's going to make stupid mistakes. I'm not taking anybody that's not a wide receiver one. I'll take a wide receiver one on a bad team over a wide receiver 2 on another because they got to throw the ball to somebody. And if they're on a bad team, they're going to be behind. They're going to be throwing the football. So I won fantasy football in the year because I had Blake Bortles, and I forgot whoever was his number 1 that year. I can't remember who it was. God, that's going to kill me. But I won my fantasy league because they were down in every game. And by the end of the game, Blake threw for 295, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He ran for like another 30. And the wideout that he had like 12 targets. He had like 9 catches. It was only for like 50 something yards, but in a PPR league, that's 14. And then you have a guy like George Pickens who, like, yeah, he looks like $1 million, but he's a wide receiver too. How many targets is he really going to get on a team like Dallas that wants to run the football? They want to reestablish that identity that they had years ago. They have 3 guys named Tyler on the offensive line. For some reason, Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico thought that, oh, look at Tyler. It was just like, all right, we get it. Also, a lot of misinformation from Chris Collinsworth last night. Watching that game and him telling us that Dallas was in 4-down territory with 4 minutes to go in the third quarter when they're on their own side of the 40. I'm not going to do it again today because I need more information. I'm building a case. I am building a case against sports media personalities and all the crazy shit that they say because it really doesn't matter. Like, they can say whatever they want because Dan Orlovsky is literally going on TV and comparing Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni to Tom Brady and Bill Belichick when you have Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Ryan Clark saying a bunch of crazy shit too about Drew Brees and Tom Brady not being generational talents, but Arch maybe. Like, dude, and we've already talked about Colin Cowherd, and we've already talked about Skip Bayless and Paul Feinbaum. Like, if you're a person that's on the come up, you can't really say shit like this. But if you have over 100,000 followers and you get paid 6 figures to talk about sports in this business, you could say whatever the hell you want. You could say that Bailey Adams is 6'8" and he could dunk a basketball with both hands. You could say Jay Recher could do 35 backflips in a row and looking like JPP. It don't matter. It doesn't matter. And you're not going to be, punished if you're wrong, and you're going to get more viewers and more people tuning in because people want to tell you that you're dumb and they want to revel in your misery. It's a vicious cycle. Jerry probably told him his agent, listen, we're going to franchise tag you and franchise tag you again. You're going to be a Cowboy for the next 2 years. David Terry, CeeDee Lamb screwed me on a 3-leg parlay. Terrible. Not good at all. And look at Louis chiming in with the $5 on the super chat. Thank you very much, my friend. I really do appreciate it. That is what we got to do. We got to keep this thing rolling. All right, real quick, before we get to our guy, Bailey Adams of Pewter Report, I just want to touch on the Rays real quick. They win again and again and again and again. They're kind of flying under the radar, and that's exactly what you're putting yourself in a position to be knocking at the door of a playoff spot, and that's all you can ask for after what we saw a couple of weeks ago. Said it before, I'll say it again. I'm just going to say it on every single show that we have. If the Rays make the playoffs, Junior Caminero has to get MVP votes. Like, it's not a discussion. It's not. And the pitching is starting to turn really round into form. And you're playing a team like Cleveland, and I know they've kind of underperformed a little bit, but under Stephen Vogt, even going back to the Terry Francona days, like how important pitching is to them, right? That is what their entire organization, they're going down through the minor leagues. I said organization, hockey side. Hockey will be here before you know it too. But we see it with Parker Messick. We've seen it with Shane Bieber and Bibby and all these different guys that they've had over the last couple of years. They pride themselves on making sure that they have great arms. There was a kind of a symbiosis between Cleveland and the Tampa Bay Rays, and they understand that if they don't have those big time payrolls like the Yankees and the Red Sox and all these different teams, we got to beat teams with pitching and defense. And you saw it. They moved on from Lindor. They brought in Andres Jimenez and Ahmed Rosario and have Jose Ramirez at third base. They know what it takes to be successful. This year, a little bit of a down year for them, but it's going to be a challenge over these next 3 games because that they're not going to give in. They're going to play hard to the end, just like the Tampa Bay Rays have. So you're kind of looking around going, all right, well, you've kind of had these ups and downs this year for the Rays. When you went on that nice run 2 months ago, now you're back. You've been going down. Now you're back up. Let's capitalize on the opportunity. Somebody said before, Blue Jays, Yankees, you can't worry about anybody else. You got to take care of your business. You've steadily climbed the mountain to get back into the wild card race. And now, as we're sitting here on September 5th, you got a shot. That's all you can ask for. You're sitting there now 2 games over 500, 71-69, 140 games played. You have 22 left. It's a sprint to the finish. You're 2 games behind the Mariners in the loss column. You are 2 now in the Win column 2. So 2 games straight up, baby. 7 in a row. 8-2 are our Tampa Bay Rays back in action tonight. 7:35 start against the Cleveland Guardians. Of course, you can check it out, 95.3 WDAE, AM 620. The starters for that game, you got Gavin Williams, Griffin Jacks, Seymour, Johnny Holstaff. Like, it's going to take everybody. Go out there, leave it all out there, and look at the Rays, man. Favorites now, -150. How about our guys? All right, speaking of our guys, let's bring in one of our guys, one of our favorites, the one and only Bailey Adams, Pewter Report. What's going on? Look at the hat. He's ready to go. What's up, brother?
How you doing? Feeling good?
Yeah, I mean, your teams right now. I mean, which one of your teams are you happiest with right now?
Got to be the Rays.
Rays? Okay, what else? Who's next?
Not real happy with UCF right now.
Yeah, what about you? Like LSU too, right? I was noticing that. Where did that fandom come from? That kind of caught me off guard.
It's a weird story about probably, I guess, the impressionability of a young kid. I was about 4 years old. Was at like a lake house one weekend with my family. My uncle's an LSU fan. He grew up an LSU fan. I don't remember his story.
That's all it takes, brother.
He let me wear his LSU visor that weekend. Ended up letting me keep it. I didn't even really know what LSU was at the time, just like the colors. And I would wear that visor all the time. Once I started getting into sports, I was like, LSU's awesome. I love this atmosphere. I love that. Still haven't been to Death Valley yet. Trying to get there soon. But yeah, it's one of those things that started when I was young, and I haven't been able to shake it.
Dude, I got in 1991, so I was 6. Pepsi made a blue soda for Duke winning the national championship. And I remember being in first grade, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And I said, Dad, can I be a fan of Duke? He goes, you could be a fan of whoever the hell you want. And from that day, man, I was a Duke fan. So, I lived in New York, not anywhere close to North Carolina. But, man, I was locked in. And I've been through it all with Duke. The wins, the highest of the highs, the lowest of the lows, getting bounced out by 14 seeds in the first round. So, yeah, it's fun. I always like that if you have that one team that's kind of off the beaten path. Like it's your team, you're from, you rock with it. Everything's kind of chalk. And then you have kind of that one outlier of a team. So mine's Duke, yours is LSU. Good news for our Tampa Bay Buccaneers, even though he was trying to hide. Vita Vea back at practice today. Any concern about him going into week 1?
So from what it sounds like, he had a good day of practice today, and he's trending in the right direction according to Todd Bowles. So it's one of those things where we'll see, I guess, how he feels. It kind of the foot injury kind of popped up out of nowhere, and seeing him on the injury report on I think Wednesday for the first time was a little unexpected. But hopefully good things trending in the right direction, and he'll be good to go. I don't know what it is about week 1, where obviously last year it was Kalijah Cansey getting an injury on the Friday before. Obviously, this one was a little earlier, but it would just be nice to get into week 1 where the Bucs are fully healthy, or as close to fully healthy as they can be, considering Wirfs, Godwin, McMillan, all that stuff.
Yeah, Izzian, Godwin, Wirfs, Benjamin Morrison out for Sunday, and Morrison's Izzian oblique, he'll be back before I'm not worried about that. But the Morrison thing just gets me, Bailey. Yeah. We spoke way too much about his health going into his tenure with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with the hip, and now dealing with what he's dealing with now, you don't get healthier as the season goes on. Do you anticipate that this is going to be a long-term thing? Where is your kind of thought process when it comes to the rookie corner?
It's tough with him. Especially with him recovering from that hip and getting back. And I know he suffered a hamstring injury toward the end of minicamp and started, dealing with that a little bit, made his way back, picked up another hamstring injury. It seems like, again, he's another one who obviously is going to miss this Sunday's game, but good to see him back on the practice field at least this week, even if it's in a limited capacity. Hamstrings especially are tough. I'm no world-class athlete, but back in my younger days playing just Pop Warner football, I had a hamstring injury, and it was one of those things that did kind of linger, and it's one of those things that you can re-injure quickly, and we've seen it with a lot of Bucs players in the past. You hope that it's one of those things that he can put behind him maybe by next week, maybe by week 3, and then just treat it, take care of it throughout the season, and try to make sure it doesn't flare back up. But you draft him, not necessarily to 1-for-1 replace Jamel Dean, but you kind of have an eye toward that might be the spot that he ends up stepping into. And Jamel Dean, for all his faults, the fact that he's had all these injury issues, it's tough now that you're dealing with a guy who you kind of want to replace him maybe in the future, also having some injury concerns.
Yeah, I mean, but the one thing with him, hopefully he can hold on to the to the football. Our guy Jamel Dean can break some passes up, boy, but it doesn't look like he's going to come down with any of them. The offense. So I said before to everybody here, I said you're going to see this play on Sunday. You're going to see a bootleg play action Baker Mayfield with Tez Johnson screaming across the line of scrimmage. You can dump the pass short off to him and get him in space and do his thing. I don't want to say I'm concerned. I don't want to say I'm worried, but this team did such a good job of running the football last year, Bailey. And Josh Grizzard, when you look back, or what Liam Cohen was able to do, there was so much pre-snap motion. You see these tight ends, these wham blocks. Like it was just a different type of running attack than we saw the year before, obviously with Dave Canales, and even the year before that with Byron Leftwich. What do you think about the running game? Like, are you going to be? Are you optimistic about the running game? Do you think Josh Grizzard? Because I know he was part of the passing attack. So, what about the running attack? Should we be concerned at all about what the rushing attack is looking like going into Week 1, especially because you have a new offensive coordinator and Tristan Wirfs won't be there?
I don't think so. I'm not too concerned. I think it's just with the personnel you have. I mean, this is a running back room that is 3, and I would even say almost 4 deep at this point with the addition of Josh Williams this offseason. So as much as Grizzard might want to throw the ball, might want to push the ball vertically down the field and kind of lean into the passing game, I think he's going to know his strengths and know that he's got a run game to lean on, especially when you have Tristan Wirfs missing. You have a couple of your top receivers missing, Godwin for the first few weeks probably, and then McMillan for even longer. I think you got to, let the run game kind of guide you, and then let that kind of open things up, because dealing with the lack of Tristan Wirfs is a huge deal, and I kind of do wonder if you see them run behind Cody Mauch, run behind Luke Gedeke, and go to that side a little bit more on Sunday. But no, I'm not too concerned. I think it's going to be still be a strength, and they just have the personnel where I think you can't avoid running the ball because they're just too good.
Yeah, and I wonder sometimes too, like people think that initially of like, all right, you run away from your second string guy, but sometimes you run behind that guy because you're going to help him out, and you don't want to get beat along the backside too. So, I'm excited to see what Charlie Heck is all about as well. Before we'll get back to the Bucs in a second. Last night, obviously the season opener, Cowboys and Eagles. What was your big takeaway from that one?
The Cowboys offense still being, kind of for real, and I don't think they're going to be all that great this year, but I was pleasantly surprised by how good of a game it was. I even said before the game started, I was a little annoyed that they went with the Eagles-Cowboys matchup just because everyone's sick of the Cowboys, and that game, even if it's not on the kickoff game, that game's probably going to end up in prime time anyway. So why not put another more exciting thing? But to their credit, it was a game where they were in it the whole way. There was some chaos with the bad blood between the two sides, and overall, I think, I don't know. I don't want to say I wasn't overly impressed with the Eagles, but I think they're kind of what they were last year, which is a very good team.
But there was warts. There was some stuff, right? Like, I mean, the secondary,
more than I expected.
Like what's weird about the Eagals? There's games where they just completely ignore AJ Brown. I don't know how that happens. Like they throw a pass to him late in the game, and it's just like, you couldn't do that at all. Like you couldn't do that at all in the first half of the game. Like I know you want to run the football, but man, it's a funky thing. And if you play a better team, you're going to lose. And we've seen that when they face the Buccaneers, is they kind of forget about an AJ Brown, or they forget about Devontae Smith, and then they don't connect. And it's like, all right, well, we're just going to start with the short stuff. We're going to throw to the tight end. We're going to run the football. Now that could have bit him. Of course, the Jalen Carter thing could have bit him in the butt too. But their lack, I think, of establishing and really getting their top players involved, it's a weird thing that happens with the Eagles. And we're talking about the defending Super Bowl champs.
It is a surprising thing to me to kind of see that. And again, I know you said, like you said, they want to lean into the run. Jalen Hurts can get a lot done, outside the pocket. And you saw it a couple times. I do wonder. I mean, the pass rush wasn't getting home, but was flushing him out a little bit, and he would pick up yards on the ground. And who knows what happens if he has some better protection there and he's able to find AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. But yeah, I think like you mentioned too, the Eagles defense, it doesn't seem like they have the strongest of number 2 cornerbacks. Like, I think they're going to miss Darius Slay a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that started to show up a little bit last night. And, I think they're still a very good team. I just don't think, they're being looked at because of the Super Bowl champions and all that. They're being looked at as the favorites in the NFC. And I understand that, but I don't think there's as big of a gap as some might want to say.
They're going to trade for a corner. They are very active in the trade market. They will definitely trade for a corner. I thought Makuba and Jahad Campbell looked fantastic last night. And you're right. You get rid of Slay, and now you're banking on a guy like Adoree Jackson. I can't believe that guy's still in the pros, because he has not been a good corner ever. Because I've seen him a lot with the Titans and with the Giants, and now with the Eagles. It's just like, it is what it is. So where is your kind of like power rankings? Like where do you have like top 5 teams in the NFC? I mean, the Bucks have to be in there. I'm sure the Eagles, Detroit, right? Who are the other 2 teams that you're looking at?
I think the Eagles are at the top. I think the Packers were already going to be up there. Maybe not number 2, but the addition of Micah Parsons maybe pushes them into that number 2 conversation. I think the Rams, there's some questions obviously with Matthew Stafford's back. But if he's healthy, I think the Rams are going to be they got a great defense and a young defense. I think they're going to be really good. I think the Bucks are up there as somewhere in the 3 to 5 range. I think they can compete with the Rams, given the Rams question marks, and the Lions. They're breaking in 2 new coordinators, and I think they're still going to be good. But I think it gets really crowded. Actually, I think the whole picture of the NFC is very crowded because you got to throw the Commanders in there too with Jaden Daniels. I think they'll be better on defense this year too. They got better as the season went on last year. It's a lot more mixed in the NFC than it is the AFC. Obviously, the AFC, you have your top dogs and then kind of everybody else. The NFC just feels like everybody else. It's a lot of 5 or 6 top teams in there.
Yeah, and I just wonder how there's going to be a surprise team, right? Does San Francisco bounce back? The Cardinals who's going to take that step forward? Does Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison and that group take a step forward, right? We don't know what happens with the Seahawks now with the change there. Do we get a surprise team? Do we get a Chicago Bears, or
let's say maybe the Bears?
The Bears. I mean, it doesn't even necessarily have to be a division winner, right? Because I think the when people talk about it before the start of the season, they are always thinking about the top end of the playoffs. They're always like, well, this team could win the division. Which one of the Giants have a lot of talent, which is weird because they have arguably the best defensive line in football, but they're drafting in the top 5 pretty much every year. You have a Super Bowl winner. You also have Malik Neighbors who got targeted 180, and you invested 3 first-round picks on your offensive line. Could they be 9-8, right? And sneak a wild card? Things like that happen. Nobody went into the season last year thinking the Broncos were a playoff team, especially when they were 0-2 going to Raymond James Stadium, and then they win that game against the Bucks, and somehow they're playing in the postseason. So that's what I love about football. You just never know what's coming. Who's that one guy that you're keeping an eye on Sunday for the Buccaneers? Whether it's give me a guy in offense and a guy in defense. Doesn't mean they're a starter. Doesn't mean they're going to have a great game. But just who's the one person that you're focused on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, I think I'll start with defense, and it's kind of a chalk pick. But Hassan Reddick making his debut for the Bucs and probably going to have a pretty favorable matchup. Caleb McGarry's out, obviously, and their backup Storm Norton is also out. So
great name. Great name, Storm Norton. He's a WWE guy from the 90s, I said.
There was a UCF running back, Storm Johnson, back
I remember
him.
Ended up,
but I think that matchup where he'll be up against a third string tackle, and you might see Yaya on that side sometimes too. But I think it's primarily going to be Hassan Reddick on that side, and that's going to be interesting considering it's flipped because Penix is a lefty. You're talking about that being his blind side. And I think, you could see a multi-sack game from Hassan Reddick. Offensively, we just talked about the run game, and I kind of want to lean Bucky Irving just to see when he's kind of going to start for his encore. But I think I just have to go with Mike Evans. He's a guy who's had success against A.J. Terrell in the past, has a lot of success against the Atlanta Falcons in his career. And, with Chris Godwin and Jalen McMillan out, I think you're going to see, some flashes from Emeka Egbuka, some stuff from short tight end passing game, running back passing game, but you got to get Mike Evans his targets, and we just talked about it with the Eagles not targeting AJ Brown. That's not going to happen. You got to have Mike Evans with 8 or 9 targets and get him involved early and hopefully often.
Spoke with Matt Matera earlier this week about the gap widening between the Buccaneers and the Falcons. But I want to ask you kind of like the flip side of that. What would keep this game close? Whether it's something that Atlanta does well or something that maybe the Buccaneers could falter with, like, because I do think that they're kind of going it may not be a quick, expansion there, but I do think like I'm not a believer in Raheem Morris. I'm not hating on the guy. I haven't seen him be a good head coach. And watching the games last year, even the game they won last year in Atlanta, like he screwed up the end of the game so bad. The clock management was terrible. We get on Todd Bowles for what he's done. I mean, Raheem's not any better. I don't believe that. I think Kyle Pitts, their defense, they can't rush the passer. But if you're looking at this game, why would this game be, instead of some people that'll think it'll be a 7 or 10 point deficit, why would this game be a 27-24 game?
Yeah, that's the frustrating thing if you're the Bucs is you shouldn't have lost to this team twice last year. I know you still came back and won the division and all that, and the Falcons did what the Falcons do late in the season, collapsed and all that. But I think it's really just there's still some playmakers on this Falcons team, and we think the Bucs defense has improved. We think they've got the middle of the field solved, but the Falcons are going to test that. I think they ate the Bucs alive over the middle of the field last year, especially in Atlanta. Kyle Pitts, for all his faults, he had a big game against the Bucs with 2 touchdowns in Tampa. I think they'll try to get him involved. Drake London has a couple of 2 or 3 big 120-plus yard games against the Bucs, and then they've got Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, who, if they get the ball in their hands, and it's hard to run on the Bucs defense in general, but I think maybe some screen passes, some stuff as an extension of that run game. If they can get the ball to their playmakers, they might break off some big plays and keep the game interesting. And I don't know, just for it being week 1, I don't really see the Bucs blowing them out. I think it's going to be a pretty tight game throughout, but I do think the Bucs come out ahead of them in this one.
And it is a divisional matchup, so you just throw the records out. They're never, but regardless of who the competition is. And I just think they're going to be able to defend the pass better because Servase Dennis is going to be out there. Mm-hmm. You have Antoine Winfield Jr. and just have more depth. Jacob Parrish looks like he's going to get a good look there at the nickel position in certain packages. What Todd Bowles said. Where are you at on Kalijah Kancey? Because this is a guy for me where I don't want to hear what you're going to do. It's one of my biggest pet peeves of I want to be this or I'm going to do this. I don't give a shit what you say. Go out there and do it. Like some of the best athletes of all time didn't have to tell us in the media how many sacks they were going to have or what. I don't care. I don't care if you are a mute. Go out there. Listen, the most abrasive person to the media in this entire city is the best player in Nikita Kucherov. Like, he's the best one. He's an MVP. Nobody else can say that in the Tampa Bay area but him. And he's the guy that don't say anything about that kind of stuff. So I don't want to hear about Kalijah or Yaya. What do you expect? Let's go both of those guys. And I know, a lot of the Yaya people are going to use that and kind of put it together with the Hassan Reddick stuff. But these 2 guys are part of the future. And these are 2 of the guys that they're hoping all right, now it's time to take the next step. I need to see the next step in the progression with both of these guys. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do. And I think I'm higher. I don't want to say I'm higher, but I think we've seen more and seen more proven by Kancey when he's been healthy. That's been the big thing is he's got to avoid that early season injury or any kind of injury. But I think he's, even from the interior, a double-digit sack guy. I think he's going to reach the 10 sack mark this year, just with the help from the outside guys and also playing next to Vita Vea. And he had 7.5 last year in limited action. So I'm pretty high on what Kalijah Kancey can do this season. Yaya, too, is I think his first time having a true pass rush partner on the other side of it. Because, we saw his rookie year, even as he's playing late, there wasn't the 2-headed monster on the outside that the Bucs had with Shaq Barrett and JPP and, obviously, further back in the day. But I think with Hassan Reddick on the other side of him, that's going to kind of take some of the pressure off him. We saw him get after the quarterback last year. He just couldn't finish the sacks for whatever reason. He had the pressures, didn't have the sacks. I don't know if this is the year he gets to 10 sacks, but if he's somewhere in that 7 to 8 sack range and maybe Hassan is that 10 sack guy on the outside, I think we're going to see, we're going to be a lot happier with the results from this Bucs defense when you have 2 outside guys in that 8 to 10 sack range, along with, your guys on the inside, Kalijah and Vita.
Yeah, I'm excited about Roberts too. I mean, this is a guy that really in the last couple of years, SMU, we saw him against USF. a player that can really stand out and do some great things. What about Todd Bowles? I mean, what does he need to do this year, Bailey? I still think the jury's out from certain people on Todd. There are a lot of people that we're saying, okay, if Liam wants to go, no, stay here. We'll get rid of Todd. And I think I was on with either Scott or Matt. And kudos to them for bringing me on, because I was one of the few dissenting voices like, I wouldn't do that, guys. Be careful what you wish for. You don't want your leader of your franchise disappearing in the night and not picking up his phone calls. You watch The Office?
Yeah.
All right. So when Jim and he goes to the other business or the other paper company, and then the guy leaves them for the big box chain.
Yeah.
And he goes and he looks into the camera. He goes, Michael Scott would not do that.
Yeah.
Right. Say what you want about Michael Scott, but he would never do that, because that guy was going to get a raise with Dunder Mifflin. He ends up going to Staples or whatever. And he goes, say what you want about Michael Scott. He would never do that. That's how I look at the Todd Bowles, Liam Cohen situation. Todd Bowles may not be your cup of tea, but you know what Todd Bowles is going to do? He's going to be a respected coach and a man around this league. I think he's open-minded. He's getting better. Like, what are you excited to see about him? Because going into now, he has a guy helping him manage the clock. I feel like this could be the right coach, right team at the right time. What say you?
I think so. And I think I've gone back and forth on Bowles a little bit over the last few years, but I think especially last year in this offseason, I've really gotten the sense that this is the right guy. I know his record is what it is. It's a really weird resume he has as the Bucs head coach, because he's just above 500. They're winning the NFC South, but they're doing so like on the last weekend of the season. And last year they're one and done in the playoffs. But I think for him this year, you got to see him go beyond the wild card round.
Right.
I'd love to see them get to the NFC Championship game, and I think this team is talented enough and has the coaching staff to get to the Super Bowl. I don't know if I'd predict it right off the bat, but I think they can do that. And like you mentioned with Zach Beislein, I think him coming in and helping Bowles with the clock management, with the analytical side of things, when to go for it on fourth down, that kind of stuff. I love the open-mindedness from Bowles there to say, yeah, I need to improve in this area. I'll have somebody come in and do that for me. I love the moves he made. I love moving Larry Foote to the outside linebacker's position and kind of making George Edwards more of a defensive, kind of almost like a game planning guy, as I don't remember exactly his title, but I think the moves he made this offseason are positive ones and ones that will help the Bucs be better this year. And the one thing that I think doesn't get enough play is what he does for this locker room.
Yeah.
The locker room, these guys love Todd Bowles. And I know that there's just the sentiment that, he's too stoic. He doesn't have much of a personality. He does. He just doesn't like to do it, out in the open.
In the media. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it was kind of funny. We had him on the Pewter Report podcast earlier this offseason, and he kind of showed that personality a little bit more. And I think people were like, we haven't really seen this side of Todd Bowles. And that's who he is with his players. His players love him. They've had these, mid-season slides in the past couple of years where, you don't want to see that this year. That's probably the big thing I would charge the Bucs to do, is not fall apart in the middle of the season. But right. Bowles has kept them together in the last couple of years when that's happened and steered the ship in the right direction. They start hot, they finish hot. You just kind of want to see it all together this year and not, have that mid-season slide. But I'm really high on what Todd Bowles is doing and where he is right now heading into this season.
Yeah, and your buddy Matt Matera knows, and half of my family are Jets fans. Initially, I was like, I don't know, buddy. I don't know. I've seen this movie before, but the sequel's been much better, and I think he's gotten better. And I'm with you. I think the midseason swoon told me a lot about this team as a whole, because you didn't hear murmurs in the locker room. You didn't hear these leaks of, the dissension or a mutiny. They stayed together, and I don't think it's going to happen this year, because we also kind of saw it coming. Right. The last 2 years, we looked at the middle of the schedule. We're like, this is going to be the hard part. So it wasn't necessarily like, oh, wow, they just went into the shitter and they forgot how to play. And then also last year, you lose Godwin and Evans in the midst of all that. And you go to Kansas City and you take them to overtime without either one of those. So to me, that's a badge of honor for Todd Bowles, not something that we should be holding it against them. All right. Final prediction for the Buccaneers this season. How many wins?
I had them at we did our roundtable earlier this week. I had them at 11-6. I think they could be 12-5, but I wasn't. I think 12-5 requires them to win all of the quote unquote gimme games. And I think there's just bound to be a slip up at some point where they lose to a team that I'm looking at right now that they shouldn't lose to, like the Broncos last year. But I think they take another step forward. They've gone 8 Todd Bowles first year to 9 to 10. I think they win 11 this year. I think they wrap up the NFC South a little earlier this year, which would be nice. And I do think that this is a team that can play on divisional round weekend, can get to the NFC Championship game. And if they stay healthy and everything breaks the right way, I think this is a Super Bowl roster.
At Bailey J. Adams 22 Pewter Report, at Pewter Report, pewterreport.com. Bailey, I appreciate your time, my man. This has been fun. It's always fun. Enjoy the game this weekend. Go Bucks.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Jay. Go Rays.
Right. Yes, sir. Them too. Raise up, baby. Raise up. Go Bucks. Go everybody, man. There's a lot of great ball on this week. Man, he's the best. Good stuff right there. All right, make sure you guys check out my guys over at Honest Hammer Custom Builders. Let's check out the website real quick before we get into what to watch this weekend. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. Look at my guys. Look at my guys. Honest Hammer. Always doing it. Always doing it. 813-244-0956. If you saw my social media post the other day, I'm still getting likes and shares on it today because everybody was like, holy smokes, man, look at this. Videos, the pictures of a great new build there in St. Pete. Licensed, insured Florida general contractor. My guys at the Honest Hammer, CGC 153-1166. I like it. No project too big, no project too small. Look at those things, man. They're not messing around. I was at this house the other day. It's cool, man. It's freaking cool as hell. Interior renovations, kitchen renovations, bathroom renovations, bathroom remodels. I said new and commercial construction. They'll be able to help you out. 813-244-0956, honesthammer@gmail.com. And Russ and the crew over there, these are the kind of people that you want to spend your money on with. It's tough nowadays, man. You're going to spend money on getting the house looking the way you want it, whether it's a brand new build, whether it's something you're going to remodel. You want to be able to work with people that you trust, and Honest Hammer are the people that you can trust. Tampa Bay sports fans just like you. Again, if you missed any of it, at Recher on all of my social media platforms, check out what they did over there in St. Pete. I was just blown away by the attention to detail, by the way that Russ speaks to his workers, the way that everybody's just happy and smiling, and it's just like no BS, man. They understand the gravity of the situation of you and your home. This isn't just a house. This is a home, and they care of you. They take care of you. TheHonestHammer.com, 813-244-0956. Tell them that you heard it right here on the Jay Recher podcast and get you a discount. Really, really good stuff there. Big thank you as well to our pal, Bailey, from Pewter Report. If you guys have any questions about this weekend, you have any fantasy football questions as well, feel free to put them there at the bottom of the screen. Our guy Louis from the Frozen Pirate Pod. I really like Rachaad White for the game. Listen, if you have Bucky Irving like I do in fantasy, go out there and get Rachaad White as a handicap. Just got to do it. Handcuff. I said handicap. Handcuff. Handcuff. Get it there for a handcuff. I did that last year. I actually had Rachaad White, and it's the funny thing. Going into last season, I had Saquon Barkley and Rachaad White as my running back with Bucky Irving. Now I have Saquon Barkley and Bucky Irving as Rachaad White. Like, you got to do that. You have to do that. Also, another couple of guys, I'm going to give you my team, because my team, we do offensive and defensive players, but just also like guys that I'm keeping an eye out, kind of under the radar. So I have, and I'm playing my little brother, who we always go back and forth. I got Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence, Mike Evans, Deebo Samuel, Lab McConkey, Saquon, Bucky, George Kittle, and then my flex is Tet McMillan. Then Chase McLaughlin. My defense, Roquan Smith, Bobby Okereke, Blake Cashman, Dexter Lawrence, Danielle Hunter, Abdul Carter, Deron Bland, and Brian Branch. Now on my bench, if you listen to Luke Easterling, part of the reason why I drafted Jalen Hurts, because we do keepers. Part of the reason why I went with Trevor Lawrence as my second quarterback, because we do a 2-quarterback league, and I picked up ATN Jr. If this Jacksonville offense is going to be good, though, that's one of those kind of under the radar type of pickups that you're going to want to look at, especially this weekend. I think that could be a high-scoring affair between Jacksonville and Carolina. So whether it's Lawrence, whether it's ATN, I have Bryce Young on my bench too. I have Brenton Strange as well, the tight end for the Jaguars. Listen, if it's going to be Brian Thomas, like his number's gone up. His number's gone up, so keep an eye out for that. I've also got Nick Chubb. He is a guy that is really kind of falling down. We know he's coming back from the injury, but with the whole thing with Joe Mixon in Houston, Nick Chubb, he's looking like a guy that could be – you're playing in an offense with Houston where you know they're going to be able to throw the football to Nico Collins. You have C.J. Stroud. That could be a nice little pickup. Keep an eye on Nick Chubb. Also, Luther Burden the third receiver there in Chicago behind DJ Moore and Rome Odunze. But that could be a guy. Caleb Williams gets the ball out of his hand quick. Keep an eye out for that kid, the rookie there. And I also have Wan'Dale Robinson from the Giants. Another guy, if Russ is looking for a guy that's going to help out in the slot, that could be him. I also got Micah Parsons. What are you going to do? Hopefully he can play. All right, what to watch this weekend? Of course, we're going to keep an eye on the Rays and Cleveland. That four-game series. Rays were able to win the first one last night, so keep an eye on that one. Also, Yankees and Blue Jays. I know I said don't worry about that as far as the Rays go, but it's going to be a hell of a matchup between these two teams where Toronto this year now sitting at 81-59. They've been fantastic. This is finally the year they've been able to put it all together. So, I mean, we'll see what happens in that matchup. If the Yankees are serious, they kind of got to go out and make a statement here at home in the Boogie Down Bronx against Toronto, because Toronto reminds me of the way that their hitters have really become accustomed to Yankee Stadium with Bichette and with Vlad Jr. being able to go the other way and hit the ball out of the ballpark. It reminds me of the Rays in the early 2010s or even before that, when B.J. Upton and Evan Longoria, those guys didn't have trouble hitting at Yankee Stadium because that opposite field power. I see a lot of similarities when it comes to the Toronto Blue Jays then, or Toronto Blue Jays now, and the Tampa Bay Rays then. All right, the college football slate, and you know where we're going to start, baby. We're going to start with the Gators and USF. I mean, 4:15 start at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium up there in Gainesville. Look at that number, 17.5-point favorites are the Florida Gators. The line is 56 point. Excuse me, the spread 56.5. 4:15 kick. Damn, 17.5. I might jump on all over that for the Bulls. This is a good test, right? Nobody is going to care what happened last week with Boise. Nobody. Jalen Schuler and Mac Harris, those two guys in the middle of the defense, that was what stood out to me. As much as you look at the offense and Byron Brown, and he looked like a monster, defensively, that was one of the best defenses that I've seen from USF in a very, very long time. You got to do whatever you can to hang tough at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, because you know the guys, just look at this. Go look up the offensive lineman, defensive lineman for the Gators compared to Boise State. It's a different challenge altogether. The Bulls got to bring it, and they got to stay in there and just keep punching and keep punching and keep punching. And if Byron Brown's the best player on the field, you give yourself a chance. Jalen Schuler, Mac Harris, go on out there, fellas, and do your thing. Give the Bulls a fighting chance. You look at the rest of the slate, especially the ranked matchup, there is that kind of drop-off, right? You start looking at Penn State playing FIU, and Texas playing San Jose State, and Florida State at 14 playing East Texas A&M. Like, it's just a different ball game altogether, right? It really is. Texas A&M playing Utah State. And you go down, and you're like, all right, well, where's the big matchups? Like, watch out for number 20 Ole Miss at Kentucky. I know it's an 8.5-point line there, but going into Lexington, I know Kentucky's not great, but you just never know. Early on in the season, you go on the road, you really don't know what the matchup is going to look like. Miami's playing Bethune-Cookman, South Carolina against South Carolina State, UCF, North Carolina A&T. Watch out now. And Michigan and Oklahoma. That really is the other big game when you look at it, as the Wolverines head to Memorial Stadium there in Norman against Oklahoma. 7:30 start there. Oklahoma 5.5-point favorite there. That's the other big-time matchup. But once again, in week 2, the USF, man, all eyes on you, man. Go out there and do your thing. I like it. give yourself a puncher's chance because you know what's happening next week as USF travels to South Florida. Not too far of where I'm at right now to take on the Miami Hurricanes. Shout out to our guys. And David Terry, he's jumped all over that 17.5 bet. And I think when I hop off with you guys, I might do the same thing. How about the AAC pick 3 games for their games so we can pick USF and UF? Adam, the disrespect is real, Adam. If anybody knows it, it's you, my friend. If anybody knows it, it's you. The UFC card. Where are we at? There we go. The UFC in Paris. Imavov against Kyle Barolo. Oh, man, this isn't the great. I mean, Benoit St. Denis. Paul Craig's on the card as well. You know, I was thinking about this last night. I'm watching some old MMA stuff on, I think it was Fox Sports 1. And you're just looking at some of these guys from the 2010s and before and after that. And you're like, every single card, even if it wasn't a huge Las Vegas pay-per-view, you knew every single fighter on the card. And even now, like, I get it. It's growing. It's getting bigger. You're having cards every single week from around the world. It's just not the same, man. It's not the same because it's just I talk about this with the Rays a lot. Like, you want to be able to know the fighters. You want to be able to build an affinity for them. And you understand who they are. But who are the big stars right now that are still fighting? Connor's not fighting with any regularity. John Jones is out. Is he going to fight at the White House? Like, we don't know. Like, you have like Paddy the Baddy and Sean O'Malley, but neither one of those guys are champions, right? There's no Brock Lesnar's, there's no Ronda Rousey's, there's no Anderson Silva's. Like, you have Islam, you have Ilya. I mean, it's not the same. It's not the same. And there's great fighters, don't get me wrong, but it's just been so watered down. It's really hard to follow along. And if you know I'm saying that, there's a freaking problem. It's not the same. Tennis, we spoke about it yesterday. The big time semifinal matchup. Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz at 3:00 today. Sinner Norge Aliassime at 7. But that match at 3:00 today. Center court between those two guys. It is going to be nuts. Nisimova beat Naomi Osaka, as well as Sabalenka beating Jessica Pegula. So there is the final. That'll be tomorrow. So always great U.S. Open action there in Flushing Meadows. As far as the soccer world goes, we're in the middle of the international break when it comes to international soccer. But the Rowdies take on Sacramento Republic FC tomorrow night. And it breaks my heart that I cannot be there for this match because the head coach of Sacramento Republic is our guy, Neil Collins, former gaffer for our Tampa Bay Rowdies. We love him. We miss him. We appreciate him. We're glad he's back on this side of the pond. His family is glad that he's back on this side of the pond. But listen, no love lost now, Neil. The Rowdies got to go out there and win this game. I actually got to text Neil because he's probably going to be pissed that I'm not there because I told him I was going to see him, but I didn't know I was going to be coaching. I didn't know I was going to be coaching all these freaking teams. I'm here in West Palm this weekend with the 18-year-olds. Next week, we got the 13-year-old. It don't stop, baby. It does not stop. Tampa Bay Sun in action tomorrow night as well at 7:00 up there in Carolina. Carolina Ascent FC. So after a little bit of a tough start to the season, they're hoping to get back to their winning ways. So, you know, Sun are in action. The Rowdies are in action. USF are in action as well. We know what's going on with the Rays as well. And then Sunday, we'll get to that in a second. All right, I'm going to get to the NFL. We'll finish with that because I got to roll. I got to get to the field. Cartwright's on it. Tell him, Adam. And I got to shout out our guy, Richie P, with the $20. Richie, thank you, my brother. I so appreciative of you. If you ever see me out and about, make sure you come. And that's for everybody, not just Richie and not just for those that hook us up with the super chat. If you guys ever see me out in public, please come up and say hello. Come up to me nice and easy, though. Well, somebody. So the reason why I say this is because somebody came up to me at the Valspar. And if you're walking, I don't know what hole, you're kind of walking to the left and you're going to 18 there. And I think you're crossing over, maybe it's 8 or 9. I don't know for sure. But like this, like a decline. So me and my parents are in town. We're walking across the fairway. and the guy walks down like really aggressively. And in my mind, I go back to 16-year-old Jay Recher and I go, is this guy going to punch me in the face? I don't know. You're just ready to scrap when you grew up where I grew up. You're ready to, and the guy goes, hey man, love your stuff. DA should have never let you go. I was like, thanks, man. And my mom and dad were like, that was cool. And I was like, yeah, I thought he was going to come up and like yell at me. So when you guys come up, just come up peacefully. And yes, come say hello, man, because I couldn't do this without you guys. And I just love the rapport and the back and forth. Like our guy, Richie P. $20 with the super chat. I can't thank you enough, my friend. I feel like USF wins this one. USF plays Gators well, always. We have a couple of key players in key positions that'll make a difference in the game. Yeah, I mean, was DJ Lagway really tested last week? No, and I love what Byron Brown said to Alex Golish. Hey, man, I want to feel a hit. I want to feel contact. He's a big dude, man. And I know the Gators defenders are going to be bigger, faster, and probably stronger than what we saw there at Boise State, but I really like what he's all about. And why not, man? If he's the best player on the field on both sides, they got a puncher's chance. And 17.5 is a lot. It is a lot. David Terry, go Bucks, go Rays, go Knowles, go USF, go Liverpool, go. And Liverpool's not playing this weekend. International break. They ain't playing, right? I don't think they're playing. No. Alexander Isak, man, come on. Come on. Isak, Ekatike, Verts, Frimpong, Kirkesh. Liverpool won the Premier League, and then they just splashed like $300 million. Like, bam. And everybody's like complaining. I'm like, nah, man, go look and how much money that they didn't spend over the years. It's just good for them. I mean, they're smart business people, man. They didn't spend what they didn't need to spend. All right, NFL action. Let's go through it. Some of the games before we wrap things up. These are the games that I'm watching more than anything else. Obviously, tonight's going to be weird, right? In Brazil. And I know somebody was upset about that the other day. You can't be. It happens all over the world. Baseball, they go play in Japan, right? Basketball, they're playing in Europe. They play in Paris last year, I think it was. Hockey, the Global Series. We saw it with the Lightning playing in Sweden. And then football, they're going to play in Mexico City. They're going to play in Brazil. They play games in London, right? It's not going to stop ever, because you are going to get millions of dollars for doing this. I mean, those games are always sold out. All the pageantry, like you bring all your stuff. It's a huge moneymaker, man. Always follow the dough. Tampa Bay and Atlanta. I'm going to go with the Buccaneers winning this game. I'm going to go 31-27. I think the Bucs win the game. It's going to be a close one. I think there's going to be points put up. Buccaneers 1.5 point favorite on the road. And then I got the Bucs finishing 12-5 this year. Cincinnati and Cleveland. Cincinnati's got to start off with some wins, right? For all this talk about Joe Burrow, and you watched it during the quarterback documentary there on Netflix, like this team every single year just lets this kid down. There's only so much that you can do. The defense has got to do better. The wide receivers, hey, come up big when you need to. Offensive line, come on, man, do something. Miami goes to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. Miami is another one of those teams I think people have kind of fallen out of love with, right? They may have fallen out of love with each other. We don't know. And then the Colts are going to be starting Daniel Jones. What the fuck, dude? Oh, what a dumpster if you're a Colts fan. The Raiders travel to New England to take on the Patriots. Mike Vrabel's first game at the helm there for the Pats. They're actually a 2.5 point favorite. But the Raiders, they actually are traveling there with a former Patriots head coach. First game for Pete Carroll, Tom Brady, Geno Smith. That's going to be an interesting game. That's going to fly under the radar. I really like that one. Arizona goes to New Orleans to take on the Saints. 6.5 point favorite on the cards. Kyler Murray, this is kind of your year. Put up or shut up. Got Marvin Harrison Jr. Go out there, and we'll see what you got. Pittsburgh, New York. Is big man going to play in the middle? Hayward? Well, we don't know. Aaron Rodgers returns to play the Jets. Justin Fields, a little bit of a swap there. Probably Pittsburgh in that game. Just give them the nod. Aaron Glenn, first game at the helm there. The Giants in Washington to take on the Commanders. Watch that game. I'm a homer, or not a homer, but I'm biased, of course. I'm so intrigued by the Giants this year. I really am. They have the best defensive line in football. They have good linebackers. They went out and got Javon Holland. Their rookie class last year actually did pretty well. Tyrone Tracy's a good running back. You have Malik Neighbors, right? Wan'Dale Robinson's a decent player. So is Darius Slayton. It's their offensive line that just screws them over time and time again. Will they get in a healthy Andrew Thomas? What does the rest of that line look like without a guy like Evan Neal? John Michael Schmitz, the center from Minnesota a couple years ago. I mean, and then you have Russell Wilson, and you have Jameis Winston, Jackson Dart, who's a QB2. It's just a freak team. I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants made the playoffs this year. I really wouldn't. And I'm not saying they're going to win the division. That's not going to happen. They're not going to win more games than the Eagles. But if the Giants were 9-8 and snuck in as one of those last wild cards, wouldn't be surprised at all. There's just a lot of talent on that roster, but it takes more than talent. So you got to put it all together. Carolina and Jacksonville, Dave Canales and Liam Cohen, 2 former Bucs OCs going at it. I think that's going to be a high score affair. 46.5 is the over-under. If you have Tet McMillan, Bryce Young, or Trevor Lawrence, or any of those guys, that should be entertaining. Tennessee and Denver, Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick, goes. What a challenge for him. Good luck going to Denver and playing that defense. That'll be rough. Sam Darnold gets the start for, obviously, Seattle as they host San Francisco in an NFC West matchup and NFC North tilt to start off the season. Will we see Micah Parsons? My guess is no, that we won't. No reason to have him out there. But that's going to be a good one. Jordan Love and his slew of young receivers. A lot of other good players on defensive side of the ball in Green Bay with Quay Walker and the crew. But Detroit, you lose both of your coordinators. What do you do now? We saw how it impacted Philadelphia 2 years ago. What does Dan Campbell and Jared Goff and the whole Lions team try to do for an encore? They came up short last year. Very disappointing end of their season, losing to Jaden Daniels and a rookie quarterback with Washington at home. That's wild. Houston in LA to take on the Rams. What's Matthew Stafford's back? Is it going to hold up against that 2-headed monster of Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter? Baltimore and Buffalo Sunday night. I've been waiting all day for Sunday nights. I can't wait for that game. That is a heavyweight tilt right off the rip. 2 MVPs, 2 teams fighting for one spot. For all the talk about Kansas City and all, these guys are like, you gotta take the step. You gotta get to a Super Bowl, or else you're gonna be in that conversation, the Dan Marino, the Patrick Ewing, the Charles Barkley conversation. You get, time is now, Lamar. Time is now, Josh. And then the Monday night matchup we'll talk about on Monday: Minnesota and Chicago, the NFC North. All right, loaded. You got that right, buddy. There you go. All right, guys, this is going to wrap it up for me. I got to get rolling. I got to get out of here because I got a game to coach at 3:30 today, and I'm 25 minutes away, and I don't know where the hell I'm going, to be honest with you. Shout out to the Hit Factory and USA Scout. A bunch of games this weekend, and a shout out to all of you guys out there. David Terry with the contribution. My guy Louie from the Frozen Pirate Pod, and, of course, Richie P. You guys are the best. You are the people that keep this thing rolling. I cannot thank you guys enough. I am extremely humbled. Tim Word, I'll get that to you before you leave. Morrison out. From what Todd Bowles said, it looks like he'll be okay for next week. But, man, I mean, I have a concern about Benjamin Morrison. Dealing with the hip injury. He's going to be out here with the hamstring. Don't rush him back, obviously. But, yeah, it's not a good way to start off your career if you're already on the sideline. No Morrison, no Izzian, no Wirfs, no Godwin, but everybody else should be in there. Vita Vea should be in there as well. So I'm pretty optimistic about the Buccaneers on Sunday in Atlanta take on the Falcons. Again, 31-27 is my guess, and I think they'll go 12-5 this season. Again, thank you to David Terry. Thank you to Louie. Thank you to Richie P. A big thank you and appreciation to our guy, Bailey Adams from Pewter Report. Make sure you follow him, Bailey J. Adams 22 at Pewter Report, pewterreport.com. Follow me, guys, on all social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok. I am everywhere, man. I'm everywhere, including here in West Palm Beach. Like and subscribe on YouTube. It's the only way we're going to keep this thing rolling, man. Subscriptions and everybody helping in and chipping in. Couldn't do this without you. Back in action on a Monday. Thanks to Honest Hammer, of course. Custom Builders, LLC, 813-244-0956. Back in action on Monday in Tampa. Hopefully it's a victory Monday, and we're talking a ton of Rays and Rowdies and Sun and the Lightning aren't playing. Bulls and Bucks and just everything, man. Let's go for the clean sweep this weekend. Clean sweep for everybody. That'd be awesome. That'd be the best victory Monday we have ever had. I love you all. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. I'm getting out on there. I got games at 3:30, 5:30, 7:30, and then tomorrow 8 a.m. all throughout the day. I'm going to be tan as hell out here in the West Palm Beach sun. But it's going to be a lot of fun again with Hit Factory and USA Scout. I love you all. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Be safe. We'll see you on Monday right here on the Recher Podcast. I am gone. Peace out.